You are now entering the spoiler zone. The following podcast contains explicit plot details and pockets of profanity. You have been warned. The Exton Moss Experiment. Adventures in Wine and Space with Simon Exton and Ken Moss. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Exton Moss Experiment. I'm Ken Moss, and this time it's the first of two guest appearances on the Strangers in Space podcast run by J.R. Southall. It's a conversational Doctor Who-centric show, but also covers film reviews, music, politics, and interviews with special guests. In this episode from July 2024, I was interviewed by Joe Ford for one of the Desert Planet Picks editions, where people get to choose 8 things to take with them before being blasted off to a planet of their choice.
Welcome back to Desert Planet Picks. My name is Joe Ford, and the man with the sexiest voice in all of podcast is with me today, Mr. Ken Moss. Hello, Ken.
Good morning, Joe. It's my pleasure as always.
Oh, listen to that. I know you're all putting cushions over your laps as you right this second. Ken, I'm going to ask you
like buttered latex.
That's the voice you put on for my Pawnee stranger supplement for the book club. Ken, where on earth would people have heard your voice before?
They would hear me at the Exton Moss Experiment, Kinky Boots, the Tonic Screwdriver, and the Archive of Audio Antiquities with Dr. Simon Exton, and 9 Bob Note with Paul Isles Rush.
And he's also turned up on a couple of hamster book clubs as well.
And
did the robot commentary as well. So you're about the place, aren't you, in podcast land?
I can't get enough of podcasting. I'm basically just a frustrated radio producer stroke presenter.
Isn't it true that you have an entire library of episodes banked waiting to come out?
Oh, good grief, yeah. There's at least 200 gin reviews, and there's comfortably 100 Exton Moss in the can.
Oh, we're mad? That's 300 episodes. That means you could, forgive me, die today. And we could still be hearing your voice for the next couple of years.
Yes, I'm the Tom Baker of podcasting.
Please don't die today. Sorry. I don't know why I said that. Well, Ken, it is a delight to have you on today. And I've got to know you quite well now. And I know you're going to give me some interesting answers as we head off in the shuttle to a desert planet. But before we take off, I need to know our destination. And I did ask you at the beginning of the morning to have a think about what your favourite and least favourite Doctor Who planets are. So please, go ahead.
I've really wrestled with this one. There's a couple that leap to mind largely because...
Go on.
I think it would probably be, and I know you're going to fucking hate this, Gallifrey.
Oh my God, the amount of bloody people that have said Gallifrey. Explain yourself, sir.
I know, but purely because... there's so much to explore on it. It's one of the few Doctor Who planets that's been really fleshed out. Some of the most interesting stories in Doctor Who have been set on the dullest planets. Caves of Androzani. You wouldn't want to go there.
How nice of you to say that The Timeless Children is one of the most interesting Doctor Who stories out there, because that's set on one of the dullest planets ever, Gallifrey.
Do you want me to cut the microphone now?
No.
I mean, there's Florana, which is mentioned a few times, but we never actually see it. Even the Eye of Orion looks, it's basically a rain-lashed mountainside.
Can I tell you what, right? Somebody has, in fact, chosen Florana and the Eye of Orion on previous episodes.
I think one of the ones that I wouldn't mind going to is either Excelis or Holam from the Scarlet Empress.
Oh, okay.
Because
I think you're going to need to give the listeners a bit of context. So Excelis?
Excelis because he's basically another Earth, but there's a sort of a medieval twist to Excelis all the way through. We see that over three Doctor Who episodes and a Bernice Summerfield episode in the audio range, and it's told over the span of about 1500 years. So it takes you through all these various different locations and time zones.
In terms of a planet, it's one of the most detailed, isn't it? Taking place, like you said, over 4 hours and at various stages, technologically speaking.
And they all sound quite interesting. I think Excelis Decays is the least interesting, but because it's so fleshed out, I wouldn't mind giving that a go. But Halam was a planet in a novel, an Eighth Doctor novel called The Scarlet Empress by Paul Mars. And they go to this bazaar, and he finds this book called The Ajaib. And it's adventures of this mysterious adventurer through time and space. And the Doctor can't get enough of this book. And Holam, it's sort of a desert planet, really, but it all sounds quite interesting.
Now, you're saying Halam, that's from the Seeing Eye book. I think you're thinking about High Spiro.
Oh, it is Hispero, yes.
Oh, Hispro. They get, you know what? Your pronunciation is so much better than mine.
Do you know, while I've got the chance, it's Eric Sayward, not Saward.
Oh, I do it all the time, don't I? Well, no,
I can
sometimes
hear
I'm
Mark.
Saward and sometimes I'm Sayward. And yeah, there's no consistency to it at all. I could just say prick.
I've never met the guy, and I've never read the two Dalek Target novels that he's done. I believe they're quite bad.
Well, we can at least guarantee that it's all the fault of the producer, John Nathan Turner. Um, okay, so we may go to Hispero and we may go to Excelis.
I
What
think
about
of the
your
two, I'd
least
pick
favorite?
Excelis.
Okay, Excelis, great
Excelis.
choice. And well done for getting in an audio planet as well. No one else has done that yet. What about your least favorite?
The one that leaps to mind is either Uxarius, which looks just desolate,
Fucking miserable, isn't it?
or the Sense Sphere. I,
Oh boy.
Jesus Christ. If I wanted to be put into a 50-year coma, that's where I'd go.
I don't know. We could have a conversation with the city administrator. That was terrible. I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
I'm so- Will you just pass me a locket, please? Okay, well, which one of those two would you like to choose?
Probably Uxarius because it just looks so horrible.
Excelis or Exarius? Okay, so to determine this, I'm going to ask you now an impossible question, if I may. Tell me 5 complimentary things about Dr. Simon Exton.
He's very witty. He's very intelligent. He makes excellent gins and cocktails.
Ooh.
He's got superb taste in food and he's got a wonderful husband. So spending time with him is just on every level a complete joy.
Well, that was effortless. You're going straight to Excelis. I hear he's hung like a horse as well, but anyway, let's move on.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Okay, off we go to Excelis then, and we are going to go through 9 categories. I'm going to do them in a completely random order, and I cannot wait to, because this is a wonderful chance. You know, we often talk about Doctor Who a lot, and there are a few Doctor Who things in here, but this is a great chance for me and the listeners especially to get to know you a bit better. So, Ken, if you were on the planet Excelis, what book would you take with you?
One book. Oh, I've read thousands upon thousands of books. At any point in time, I've got 6 or 7 books on the go. So to screw it down to one book, I actually thought at one point that the Bible would be a good book. I am in any way religious. I detest religion in every form.
I had a Christian on this, you know, he didn't even take the Bible.
Well, it's not through any sort of great love of the work. I think it's actually a terrible piece of fiction, holy text. But I thought if I've got all this time on my own, I could adapt the whole thing like Game of Thrones and actually make the thing like some great HBO blockbuster series. They could make a fortune out of it. I can make a fortune out of it. Everybody wins. But I'm not taking the Bible.
I was going to say, that is a bold endeavor. You're going to adapt the Bible to a HBO miniseries.
Well, obviously the logical follow-up would be the Quran, in which case I would have to move to another planet. But no, what I'm actually going to take is something so blindingly obvious. I can't believe I didn't think of it first. It's
Is
the
it War of
complete.
the Daleks by John Peel?
Do you know what? I toyed so hard with that quality novel. 280 pages of absolute gold, but it was
Wank.
ditched in favor of The Complete Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh, wonderful choice. How comes?
Way, way back in the earliest days of my reading, I was given this ancient copy of the complete works of Sherlock Holmes, and it had all the Strand illustrations in them. And I was just captivated by this world. So in my head, because of the illustrations, I always cast Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes, and so I had his voice in my head right from being, a young kid really reading these things. And it doesn't matter how many times you read them, the stories are just wonderful. And there's so many of them. So the definitive Sherlock Holmes for me is Peter Cushing. He did a series in the 1960s, criminally few of which still exist.
Yeah, I've never seen those. I've watched all the Jeremy Brett ones, and I love the atmosphere of those and the production value. The thing about Sherlock Holmes is I feel like they're just the perfect length to read before bed.
Yes, you see, I'm somebody who enjoys short, punchy chapters. Don't give me a chapter that's 50 pages long. Give me one that's 15, 20 pages long, possibly even less than that. Because my reading time is so limited that I need something short and punchy, and they're just about the right length. So yeah, but there's loads of Sherlock Holmes stories, and they're all just eminently readable and so cleverly done. There's no one ever really written, for my money, as cleverly as Conan Doyle did.
Talking of modern day adaptations of classics in literature, did you watch the Sherlock series, the Moffat one?
I resisted for years because I've always detested modern adaptations of Sherlock Holmes. So the Robert Downey Jr. films, what the fuck were they? And I believe there's another one coming out. But I finally gave in and watched one. And I thought, this is actually very good. I like the whole way that Benedict Cumberbatch plays him. They deal with the whole are they or aren't they gay thing in the very first episode, get it straight out of the way.
Hmm.
It's one of those fan conceits that, like Biggles and Ginger, they're clearly gay and they're having it off between. It
They're the
can't possibly
crustiest gay
just be.
couple if they were.
They would last 5 minutes as a gay couple. Sherlock Holmes would be storming off in a huff every 5 minutes, and Watson would be there in a pinny and his rubber gloves, cleaning up the mess that he'd left behind. And as a couple, there'd be no sex going on there. Either that or a lot of angry makeup shags, and that's it. So no, I've never held with the whole there's gay tension between them. It's just two gentlemen having adventures, which is for me what the best stories are. Is when Doctor Who's at its best. It's just two mates having adventures, none of this sexual tension.
Bit more interesting that way as well. Do you know, I found Andrew Scott's Moriarty in the Moffat series one of the best Moriartys I'd ever seen. He was fucking chilling.
He is unsettling as an actor. And to put that performance, it's a very, very different Moriarty. It's nothing like the books, but it works as a foil for Holmes. And despite the fact that Moriarty only appeared in one story, he's been woven through mythology as the great arch enemy of Sherlock Holmes. They
Yeah.
they never had this great adventure after adventure, Doctor Master battle every 5 minutes that people seem to think. The Moffat Gatiss series, they wove him through and he was barely in it, but they still managed to weave him through in a very clever way. I think the series as a whole, very well made, very well written. Hats off to both of them. It's a pity there weren't more, but I completely understand. They've got a cast like that. They're not available. Are you busy this afternoon, mate? They're not. So
Speaking as somebody who has just read, thanks to you, War of the Daleks by John Peel, yes, I will keep bringing it up.
I'm going to suffer for this, aren't I?
You will. The Sherlock Holmes, Conan Doyle stories, in comparison, they just beam with intelligence, don't they? Just smart observations, atmosphere, clever dialogue, good twists, great characters. I think that's a wonderful choice to take.
Yeah, something I wouldn't get tired of. And there's not many books that I could pick up and keep reading.
Well, let's move on to your second choice then. And this, I can never predict what people are going to say because I'm asking you to technically sum up your entire life in a single image. But what photo would you take with you to a desert planet and why?
I think it would have to be a photo of me and my partner. I can't take her with me, and I have a lovely picture that was given to me, and it just sums up everything about me and her. And so if I'm not going to be able to take her with me or speak to her, see her, that would encapsulate it's me and her on a trip away. And we're just together and it sums everything up that's nice about my life. I've got a life at 100 miles an hour. I work for the court service and it's a very intensive job. I'm knackered a lot of the time. When I'm not working for the court service, I'm still record audio and podcasts and narrations and things, or I'm out hosting quiz nights or bingo nights. I've been doing that for 25 years. And it's all joyous stuff. My life is just mental, but she's always there at the end of it as a temper, and she's infinitely patient and puts up with it and encouraging. So I need something to ground me that whatever my life is or whatever it has been banished to this space station or planet or wherever I'm off, there's a reminder that I was grounded at some point by somebody, and that was my constant.
I know a bit about your life, and I know it goes by like a freight train, it goes speeding by. But we're friends on social media, and despite everything that's going on in your life, you post wonderful pictures of like date nights that you have and lovely meals out and things like that. So you definitely find time for those intimate moments as well.
Every day we do that. It might just be a pot of coffee for her and a pot of tea for me in the morning, sat outside on the patio, watching the sun come up or hearing the birds or just a meal together. We might only get half an hour at meal times in the evening before she's got to go out and I've got to go out, but we make time for each other every day.
Well, she may not listen to this, but I am intrigued, and you're here with me right now. So tell me one wonderful thing. What's her name? Dawn? Is it
Her name's
Dawn?
Dawn, yes.
Yeah. Tell me one wonderful thing about Dawn.
Oh, one, oh, she
Just,
is
just the one.
infinitely patient.
Having spent some time with you, I can see why. Oh, sorry, no. Go
It's true. I am not an easy man to live with.
on.
When I lived on my own, I wish I could move out. That's a credit to her that she is so patient with me and puts up with me being frantic at times. She's never once properly lost it with me. And we've been together years now, and never once has she lost it.
She's not coming with us, unfortunately, but this beautiful photograph of her is.
It will. It will.
Okay, this next one, I think I know what the answer is here because I feel you may have had a little bit this morning, but we'll find out. Ken, we're allowed to take a single drink with us, and if it is a gin, I want you to be quite specific.
Well, I do have gin. I'm on a day off today, so I'm doing day drinking. I've got a gin in front of me. It is not gin. And I've postulated many
What?
times over the years,
Go on.
if I had a choice, say some hypothetical scenario, which funnily enough is coming up at this very second, I had to give up either gin or tea. Which would I give up? Gin would go in a heartbeat. I cannot live without my tea.
I don't want to say you're basic, but the amount of people that have said tea on this bloody thing,
Yeah.
it is absolutely the nation's drink. Now, and I've had people tell me that they drink tea and it's sort of like, a relaxant in the morning and they drink tea when they're reading. What's tea to you?
Tea to me is certainly the kickstart in the morning. I get up out of bed and it's always around 6 o'clock in the morning. The first thing I do is make a pot of tea. And my weapon of choice is Lapsang Souchong. It's a very smoky, piney tea.
Mm.
It's basically like liquid cigarettes, which sounds disgusting, but it is just this wonderful pine smoke tea, which Europe have banned as a carcinogen. So it's made it harder
Really?
for us to get in it. Yeah, it's banned in Europe now.
I didn't know
Smoking
that.
in bars and restaurants, not carcinogenic. You can do that, but you can't drink smoky tea. So I love Europe, France in particular. I love going to rural France. It's just this wonderful place. And, you're dotted around Europe. You've got all these wonderful cultures mixed together. But the EU, mate, as an organization, I think the countries would be better off without the EU, if I'm honest. But that in particular, if I don't get my pot of tea in the morning, I'm not unpleasant, but I'm just not at my best. And I work in several different offices and I always drink out of a teapot. So in each of the different offices and courthouses that I go to, I buy a tea set. I'll see one in a charity shop for 5, 10 quid, give it a bit of a rub with Silvo and just leave a tea set in every courtroom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's the mark that Ken Moss has been in? You see that silver service over there?
That's basically it. I am a tea service and a pocket watch at work. And that's how people see me. So they're always quite surprised when, I lose my rag or I turn around and I'm a bit of an arse. Yeah, don't let the veneer fool you. I am a dick at times. I do lose my patience with
No, but
imbeciles.
you are a very charming and sexy sounding dick. So, you
I'm
sort of
going
get
to
away
say
with
this
it.
again, and I know that you work in a supermarket, but you catch me on a Saturday. Dawn won't come to a supermarket with me on a Saturday because she knows that I'll be shouting at old women that have
That's
had a long week.
everyone in the supermarket, though. No one's out there best in a supermarket.
Yeah, but not on a Saturday fucking morning. Doris, you've had all week to buy your cat food. Why have you come today?
I couldn't possibly comment in fear of losing my job. Although we do sell several varieties of Lapsang Souchong, and I've never tried it, so I think I might indulge myself this
Are you a
afternoon.
tea drinker?
I like tea without milk, so I've got like a tea strainer, and I like every now and again, but no, I'm a coffee drinker as a habit.
Lapsang, I think, if you don't really drink tea, it might be a taste too far for you, but because not everybody likes it, but it's quite a nice, strong, smoky flavor. You brew it, and the whole room is filled with this pine smoke, and you taste it, and it's a very delicate tea. I take mine with milk and sugar, but you are supposed to drink it just black.
I
But
don't know if it's absolutely delicious or just that you make it sound so evocative, but I'm desperate to try it now.
well, Twinings used to do the best. Do not buy,
That's the
do
one we've
not
got. No,
buy.
that's the one we have, I think.
No, it's not lapsang. It's boiled bleach, what they serve now. It's
Oh,
distinctively smoky, and it's nothing like lapsang. Don't buy that.
I'll expect a package at the post from you then in the next week.
I think I might have to send you a sample in a sealed envelope with a letter on a sheet of torn vellum sealed with wax, written with a quill pen.
Well, look, let's put down our Sherlock Holmes. Let's stop drinking from this fabulous silver service I have on the shuttle, our Lapsang Souchong, and let's put on a classic Doctor Who story. What would you choose out of the entire run of classic Doctor Who, and
The
why?
Caves of Androzani, hands down.
That was so quick, Ken.
Yeah. This was born of a repeat in 1993, I think it was. And at the ripe old age of 15, I was watching this with huge nostalgia for the old days. I mean, you look back now, it's ridiculous that some of these stories, they repeated Battlefield, which was, what, 3, 4 years old at that point, and it seemed like a lifetime ago at 15. But the Caves of Androzani catapulted me back to my childhood. There's many reasons. Peter Davison was the doctor I grew up with. I do remember vividly that story on television, and I was gutted at the end when he died. I mean, everybody in the story dies. There's only Perry and Timmins survive. Even the doctor dies. And then the week after, you've got Colin Baker. And I remember asking my mum, well, when's he coming back? He
Oh,
isn't.
oh no.
Yeah, but then I'd forgotten Peter Davison within 4 weeks. And that was
Home?
the fickleness of youth. But it's such a bloody good story. And it's one of the things that I say about a lot of failed Doctor Who or Doctor Who that doesn't really work. There are so many plot strands. You need at least 3 ongoing plot strands in a Doctor Who story that gradually wind together. In episode 4, they all come together. Caves of Androzani's got about 4 or 5, and they're all really interesting in their own rights. They're not just 2 people in a room having a conversation, but they're connected to another 2 people in another room that you don't really care about. You've got the army, You've got Sharish Jack, you've got
Morgus.
Morgus, you've got the Doctor and Perry, and then there's the Doctor and Salatine. Perry then goes off with the army. The army's talking to Morgus. Morgus is talking. It's just all woven together.
The gun
And you
runner's
look at,
there. There's a whole plot with Timmin that you don't even know about until
oh,
she reveals her hand.
so all that's going on in the background, and everybody's connected to everybody else. And in part four, it's all pulled together, and just everyone dies. Everybody's dead, Dave. Compare that to what we've just had, Empire of Death.
Everybody
One.
lived.
It was one plot strand. I found Empire of Death quite a chore to get through. I was bored by
I
it.
don't
And
think
you
you were the
think,
only one, though.
well, you're comparing it to Caves of Androzani and Doctor Who, where there were Revelation of the Daleks, several plot strands going on. It's not the greatest story of all time, but it's interesting because of how it's written. Modern Doctor Who, actually, it's lost the art. And some of the audios, they've lost the art. You look at some of the earlier classic Doctor Who audios, there's several plot strands being
Mm,
woven together.
yeah.
The flattest ones are the ones with no plot strands. It's just very linear. So things like The Wishing Beast or Peer Pressure, there's nothing going on.
I think there's an element of talking down to the audience a little bit by simplifying the plots, but leaning into the feels, like the sentimentality. I think that's what's happened now. Whereas I'm not saying the emotion was less important back in the day, because there's a lot of great emotion in Case of Androzani, but I think there was an emphasis on plotting, like you're talking about.
Well, I watch a lot of old archive TV with Simon Exton. So we look at things and we have to view them as A, of their time, but B, they didn't have the money for bangs and whistles. It had to be done within contained sets and with good dialogue and with a good plot. Now you can paper over a lot of cracks with
Money, basically.
basically, yes, and showing emotion on screen. We don't know how to end this scene. Well, just have one of the characters burst into tears. There's more to it than that.
I think Androzani had a legacy. Like you said there, every character basically dies at the end of this story. And that meant we went into season 22 and Eric Saywood, if I said that
Get
right,
in.
took that template and unfortunately handed it to lesser writers that couldn't quite pull it off the same. But the deaths at the end of Androzani, they all hit one because they're like visceral moments. The bit where Chelak screams as that mud comes towards him, or the bit where Sharasjek, he's got Morgus inside that machine. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it looks horrible. But it is a payoff to all of their character stories.
And you feel it and you care about it and you can understand why they all feel that way. All the cliffhangers are absolute bangers. I remember seeing the cliffhanger to episode one. I thought, how the fuck do they get out of that? And
I
then you
rem
realize when you play it back, there's just one and a half second shot of a camera panning out of a crack in the wall.
Yeah.
Then you realize it's all being watched and it's all a setup. But blink and you've missed it.
I
And
remember seeing the whip pan in episode 4 across the quarry as their soldiers are coming after the doctor and they're like spraying bullets everywhere. And as a kid, I was perfectly convinced I was never ever going to see TV as dynamic as that ever again. Ken, I'm not sure I have actually. Not in a way that's connected with me in the same way.
well, I always go on about the Chimes of Midnight, episode two, when the clock's racing down in the
Oh,
kitchen and they're all together.
yes.
I
Yeah.
think that is the best audio cliffhanger. In fact, one of the best Doctor Who cliffhangers ever. But TV wise, I don't think there's ever been a better cliffhanger than Caves of Androzani 3, where he's crashing the ship.
No, my slip hands in the air over here. Why? Because I'll kill you if you don't.
Not a very persuasive argument, actually, Stubbs, because I'm going to die soon anyway. Unless, of course,
I'll give it to you count of three.
Unless, of course, I can find the antidote. I owe it to my friend to try because I got her into this. So you see, I'm not going to let you stop me now.
And it's almost like you get the prize at the end of his era. He's characterized so well in that story. It's like this is what he could have been throughout his entire era. It's just like a taster at the end.
Well, you don't want to kiss goodbye, but you think if he'd carried on, it would never have been as good as that.
No, that's
So,
true. It's,
what a
it's always
wonderful
best to go out on a high.
Absolutely.
What a stunning choice. Okay, and no one's chosen Androzani yet, you know. I've had some pretty
Really?
bizarre choices, if I'm honest.
What
But
have you had?
let's see now. I've had, well, obviously the Five Doctors a few times. I understand that. Androids of Tara, I've had. Creature from the Pit, someone chose.
Oh, it's so nice to hear some love for these underrated stories. That's
Yeah.
great.
And, it's nice to know there's some eccentric people out there as well.
Of course.
Okay, well, what about, I love asking this one. I need you to choose the entire body of a television series that is not Doctor Who.
Yes, Minister.
Oh, okay. Now I know something of your political leanings, so
Mm.
let's hear it.
Well, I am politically homeless and I have been my entire life, really. I was a local councillor in Hindburn for 8 years.
I
And
mean,
I
I
was
would have voted
cabinet
for you in
member.
a heartbeat.
Well, yes. So I mean, I've had great interest in politics throughout my life, but there's none of them that I don't look and think, yes, I'm staunchly red, staunchly blue, staunchly other. I've never had that. I just want what's right. And what's right in 1 year might not necessarily be right 2, 3 years down the line with a political party under that flag. They change all the time. But yes, Minister, I've spent a lot of time in council offices throughout my life, both as a civil servant and as an elected member. This distills what it is like. There's the thick of it version, which is sort of setting wise, it is nearer the mark. They aren't all leather and mahogany offices anymore, smelling of tweed and fag smoke. But the behaviour of people is far closer to Yes Minister. There is that proper way to behave sort of thing. That does still go on behind closed doors. And they're so well written. I mean, the writers of Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister, they both got gongs. And it was Margaret Thatcher's favourite TV programme. What
Oh,
an accolade
wow.
there. So, yeah, it's very party politically ambiguous. It's just what would be a minister and then a prime minister and the adventures they'd get up to and the things they've got to come up against and sort out and fight against to get the decent thing done. And it's so clever, and I never get tired of watching it. There's 5 series, and there was technically a sixth made in 2013, but they're just glorious television. They're 45 years old now, but yeah, glorious.
Very clever and impeccably cast as well, isn't it, that
Mm.
show?
Are you familiar with it?
My mum used to watch Yes Minister when I was younger. I haven't actually gone back to it in because forgive me, politics does tend to I just tend to find politics a lot of waffle sometimes, sort of avoiding the big issues and a whole ton of theatre instead of actually doing the job. But it's one I should definitely go back to because I can remember her laughing her head off at that show. So I have remember sort of sitting at her knee watching Yes Minister and her enjoying it a lot. So I don't have strong memories as an adult, no. But
It was
I
one of those
do
series that,
like clever comedy.
well,
So
it started strong from the very first episode, and it just got better and better until it finished sort of 8 years later. Very, very cleverly done.
I remember there's one speech which I must have seen in like a clip show or something like that, where I was like, God, that's funny. Where he's going, you've got this secretary and you've got that secretary and the permanent undersecretary. And he goes, and do I have a secretary? He goes, no, you don't. Is that sort of very fast-paced, sort of witty, clever dialogue, isn't it?
How they got through some of those speeches, particularly Nigel Hawthorne, who played Sir Humphrey. It was the most specious claptrap, but he had to learn those lines, and he always got it dead letter perfect. And I understand there weren't many retakes.
I don't think that we. It's clever comedy now. I don't think we write as verbose comedy as you had in the 70s. And I think that's a shame. I don't think we use language as dexterously as we can in comedy anymore because I don't think the audience has the patience for it now. Whereas I
I'm
really like going back and watching, I don't know, the better Two Ronnie sketches and things like that, where the gymnastics with the language
mm,
is so exciting.
I'm quite disparaging on modern TV. I find a lot of it very derivative, and it doesn't credit the audience with a scintilla of intellect or patience. And there's a lot of virtue signaling going on now. You have to be all things to all men and women. And as a result of that, the bite has gone out of it. So there's a lot of things they can't get away with now. Even the most innocuous things would offend somebody. So the remit of comedy and the boundaries that they've got to work within, they're shrinking all the time to the point where comedy is just going to be so homogenized, it's not going to be funny at all. And I feel sorry for comedy writers and comedians where the boundaries are constantly shifting so that stuff that they did 10 years ago is now considered off limits. That's quoted back to them so that their boundaries are restricted. Now, if you watch Yes Minister, yes, it's very verbose. People wouldn't turn in for that now, and it would be a very niche audience if they made it. It's a shame because we have dumbed down TV, and it's one of those things where I'm very much in favour of the licence fee. I'm not entirely convinced that the BBC as it stands is doing the best job it could. And there's this rose-tinted glasses about the BBC that it was this great, perfect organisation that used to churn out high-quality stuff. Again, not entirely true. But you take away a state-funded broadcaster that all the others have to at least attempt to. That's where the bar is. We can't drop too low below that bar or we're going to not have an audience. Take away that, where the BBC is either non-existent or at the whims of the advertisers. So it's the lowest common denominator, wall-to-wall American stuff, advert breaks every 8 minutes, and there's no bar to aspire to. You can kiss goodbye to stuff like niche documentaries or wildlife programs, or most of the stuff that they do will be erased and you'll be down to the most derivative crap. So I don't think, this is a very long-winded way of saying, this is why I lose myself so often in archive TV.
It's such a tricky one, right? Because there's a show I used to watch in the 90s, which is very damning to gay people, and I'm gay, but I think it's fucking hilarious. It's Gimme, 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 which is crude and, it's not smart comedy, but I absolutely recognize the people in that show and it makes me laugh a lot. And I'm told now that's incredibly offensive and I shouldn't be watching it anymore. Maybe that's not for you, but it's so odd, isn't it, that we're sort of told now we shouldn't be watching stuff then because that's offending people. And it's like you said then, what's offensive now will change in 10 years' time. So what's being made now, people will find a reading on it as basic as it is. And with all the attempts to not offend people, someone will find something offensive in it somewhere. Yeah, it's weird. TV's gone down a weird rabbit hole. And I'm not saying things were perfect in the 70s. Boy, they were not perfect.
Absolutely not.
There was some very offensive TV back then. But maybe it was a bit more risky.
Well, nobody takes risks anymore. I think at the time of recording, there's a new series started on ITV set in a police training school called Piglets. I've not seen it, but before anyone had seen a single frame of this thing, there was uproar that it was called Piglets. This is offensive to police. And Christ, mate, it's comedy. It's not some biting comment on the state of police or how you should be thinking about the police. It's a comedy. The number of times I've been compared to, I have no hair. I am very much a cue ball, boys and girls. But I've had the tango thing. I used to get that a lot. The, boiled egg. I get all sorts of, in brackets, abuse. It isn't abuse. It's ribaldry. It's just people having a laugh. It's mates taking the piss. It's not everything in the world is out to get you. Or some biting social commentary on the correct way of thinking. They're trying to subvert you into thinking politically incorrect things. Sometimes things can just be innocuous fun. I think we've lost that as a society.
Knew that you'd end up taking me to some controversial places.
I know, and
I'm pleased that you did. It's one of the reasons I like talking to you is that you don't just say the things that everybody else says, and you have your opinions. It's what makes talking to you as engaging as it is. But I am going to spin us on from TV.
Yes, you've gone down a very
not
weird
Doctor
rabbit
Who. No, not at all, not at all. That's the joy of the conversations, right? Is that they can go down unusual directions. But let's choose your film of choice. And bear in mind, we're going to be watching this over and over on Excelis.
With Nail and I.
I've never seen it.
It is the most quotable film I've ever seen in my life. I was given a copy of this on an off-air VHS in the mid-90s. And in those days, Booths used to do, Booths is sort of like the northern version of Waitrose. They used to do these 5 litre glass flagons of cider, real strong scrump. And I had one of these in with me, and I remember opening this and drinking it while I was watching With Nail and I. And With Nail and I is set in 1969. It's Paul McGann and Richard E. Grant and Richard Griffiths. Paul McGann and Richard E. Grant, two out of work actors. They live in Camden. It's desolate. They go to their big gay old uncle and say, look, can we borrow the cottage in Penrith and go on holiday just to get away from it all? They do, and it's even worse. And they just spend the whole film pissed and staggering from one dreadful scenario to the other in the pissing rain with no heat or warmth. And then the big gay uncle comes up all the way from London with the intent of buggering Paul McGann in the middle of the night. And
Are you serious?
absolutely. And it's just this rip-roaring comedy.
It sounds miserable. What is so great about this film?
Watch it. I know you don't drink, so I won't tell you to have a drink while you're doing it, but watch it. It's just the most happy, sad comedy, tragedy film. It was made by George Harrison's company, Handmade Films. And the idea that George Harrison had was that he made films that he wanted to see. So he funded Life of Brian. Life of Brian was knocked back left, right, and centre. We're not making this. No way, we'll get slaughtered. George Harrison saw it and said, I want to see this. Make it.
It's
And it was
one of
the
the
same
best
with Listener.
last scenes of any film ever, isn't it? Like Brian.
Yeah. And you watch this thing, and it is this great piece of art and comedy, and it's a risk. Films don't take risks anymore. With Nail and I, it was a commercial failure. But it's become this big cult.
Huge cult hit. Yeah, everybody I know's seen it. Is it one of those British films which just offers almost inadvertently like huge, profound insight into humanity? Because British films have a habit of doing this, especially the sort of the uglier ones.
The human condition in this is not a pretty one. And it's so cleverly done. But the best thing about With Nail and I is it's all rooted in fact. These are all real characters that the screenwriter, Bruce Robinson, he knew all these people. Slightly, dramatized for the film, but it's all based on fact. And you think, this is just hell on earth, but I'm compelled to watch it. And then there's the ending is all, you get both a happy and a sad ending. And you're left with this profound feeling at the end. What I've just watched is a really good. I don't know how I feel at the end of this. First time I watched it, how do I feel? Am I sort of uncomfortable at the end of it, or do I feel that was fucking marvelous? I loved that film. Very, very clever piece of cinematography. I would heartily recommend it to you all. For those of you that drink, have some cider with you and have that.
Do you know, you've sold me this movie now. I'm going to put it straight in my box. And before you think I'm talking about anything rude, Mark and I have got a box downstairs and we write down names of films. We put them in the box and it's always sort of half full. And then when we want to watch a movie, we just choose one out randomly. Some of his recommends, some of my recommends. It's going in there. I do have one question for you though.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen Richard E. Grant give a good performance in anything. Certainly not Doctor Who. So is he good in this?
Yes, excellent. I think that this version of Richard E. Grant in With Nail and I is what they were hoping for in Scream of the Shalka. What they got was a block of wood.
Oh, he's dreadful in it, isn't he?
Terrible in it. I did once ask Nicholas Briggs at a convention, why have you never done the Shalka, Doctor? And he just looked at this, gave me this withering look from the stage down at me, and I thought I really deserve that look for asking the question in the first place. This is the ninth Doctor we should have seen.
A staggering drunk, yeah?
Strip away the drink, it's the rapier wit and this acerbic comeback to things. And he's basically Peter Capaldi before Peter Capaldi, but even worse.
Do you wonder, when he got famous, he sold out a bit. He just started dipping in and out of franchises and somnambulistically walking through productions. It's a shame because clearly, as you're saying here, he had a lot of potential.
I think actually this might even have been his first film or his first major foray
Yeah.
into the thing that made it.
The thing that people say about Tom Baker, isn't it? Before he knew he was a success, you got Genesis of the Daleks. Once he knew he was a success, you got Underworld. You know? Well, I'm talking about Doctor Who. So let's spin back to, and you've already given a slightly damning appraisal of modern day TV, but what would your new Doctor Who pick be? Now that's post 2005, so from Rose onwards.
Day of the Doctor.
Okay, a few people have chosen this, but I'm intrigued to hear why.
I know that it's got its detractors, but I saw this at the cinema and wow, they made an event of that. There was a whole pre-credit sequence with Strax, and there was a nice intro with the three doctors. I think they're all on the DVDs as extras. But I was just absolutely captivated from the opening frames. It was just done so wonderfully. It was in 3D at the cinema, which I've never seen. I know there's a 3D version you can buy at home, but I've never seen it. And unpeel, David Tennant comes back. David Tennant, actually, he's not the 10th Doctor that we remember. He's less than he was on screen. But then you've got the magnificent John Hurt. I'm looking for the Doctor. This marvelous old actor playing a lost incarnation of the Doctor. And you think, how's this going to work? And he is the most glorious thing in it. The story's clever. It celebrates the history without trampling all over it. It celebrates the Time War, although I'm with you. We talked about this before. I prefer the Time War in the books. It's a little bit more temporal than Star Wars that we've always had on screen. But the end of it, I've had 400 years to change my mind on this, agonizing. I've got a chance not to destroy my home planet. I'm not going to do it. Let's find another way. And it ties in with everything that Russell T Davies had set up. I mean, we got 2 regenerations that year that tied up loose ends. So I'm very grateful to Stephen Moffat for that. And it's a cracking story.
They threw a shit ton of money at it as well, didn't they? And it looks spectacular.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's glorious. I never tire of watching it. I can stick in fact, I might even stick it on later today. I'm on a day off. The gin's already poured. It's mid-morning. What the hell? I never do this. So
what Day of the Doctor achieved that no other Doctor Who story has ever achieved in such a prominent position of celebrating an anniversary, being an event Doctor Who. You say it has its detractors, but I don't think it has many. It pleased about 99.9% of Doctor Who fandom on transmission. And that is unheard of.
Well, you get all the way to the end and you think, that was marvellous. Right, goodbye, everybody. Yes, it's lovely to meet me. And then Tom fucking Baker turns
Go on, do it.
I really think you might. And then you get this end sequence of Matt Smith and Tom Baker. And for years, I know that it's been heavily implied that it's a future incarnation of the Doctor, which never sat well with me at all. So I'd always retconned it as the person he met that the 4th Doctor based his face on. I have now, this is a personal retcon, no one's ever said this that I'm aware of, but the 14th Doctor's now retired. So he's, to me, a future version of the 14th Doctor.
So that's what Rusty Davies said, wasn't it? Was that every single Doctor had their retired version. Yeah, after he did that, he said basically there's a version of Sylvester McCoy, there's a version of da-da-da-da. So actually, your personal headcanon fits perfectly.
Oh, no, I thought it was sort of like a divergent Doctor rather than each Doctor carries on as a sort of bi-generation.
It makes any sense at all, if I'm honest, but
It doesn't. I mean, it was a lovely thing. That was the only thing about the whole thing that didn't sit well at the time. Now I've personally retconned it away and I can be at peace. Because he was in Stranded as the curator. And there's this marvellous scene where he's feeding the pigeons.
Here you go, come on, don't fight. There's plenty for everyone. Ooh, I do so love pigeons, don't you? Some people call them rats of the sky. No, but that's just a feral version. They're really called rock doves. Did you know that?
I don't know why I'm here.
Well, we all have to be somewhere. This is as good a place as any.
You don't understand.
Oh, I understand altogether too well. That's the paradox.
Paradox? There was a paradox.
Better than a pair
When the
of...
Rockellians tried to kill the Doctor, they caused a paradox.
Oh, I remember it well.
But you weren't there.
Oh, very troubling, wasn't it?
An alternative future.
Exactly, yes. Have you considered looking a bit closer to home?
No.
That might be something to do with your time, something worth investigating, but then what would I know? I'm just a silly old curator, aren't I?
Yes.
Going, are you?
Yes, I have to be somewhere else, I think. I'm sorry. I'll be back.
I do hope so, yeah. I just throw out the seeds. Whether they land or not, take root, well, that's entirely up to you.
Tom Baker. It's such a shame that he's not recording with Big Finish anymore. Because when he was on form, and a lot of the time he was just playing Tom Baker in the audios, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But when he was on form, he was spectacular.
And I've heard a few lately, actually, when he's great. And he's great at the end of Day of the Doctor as well.
Oh, yes.
You know that bit where he just goes, shh. It's like, yeah, there's Tom.
There he is. Yeah, it's just one of the few Doctor Who stories that I can put on back to back and never get tired of. Glorious.
Although at the end where Matt Smith goes, is that what I should do? Go looking for Gallifrey? I'm like, no! For fuck's sake, no!
Gallifrey, don't you?
Oh, God. Arc of Infinity, Invasion of Time. Yes, I hate Gallifrey.
Even Deadly Assassin?
I think that's where the rot set in, if I'm honest.
Oh, mate. Oh,
We'll talk. I haven't done that yet for Hamster, so maybe we'll talk, all right?
yes, I would love to do Deadly Assassin. It's one of my favourites.
But you know what? I'm feeling a little peckish. So why don't you open up that cupboard over there and show me what... It could be a meal, it could be a cuisine. Tell me what we're eating tonight.
Curry.
Oh, please. What's your curry of choice, though?
I can't actually get my favourite curry anymore. Years ago, when Big Finish first came out, I used to ration the episodes. So I'd have Monday nights. It was sort of my reward for the start of a week. I'd get a Chinese and put on one episode a week and sort of make a story last a month. And in those days, there was a little takeaway. Oh, there's nothing like Peking duck from the slow boat. No, it wasn't that, but it was the Sunflower in Lostock Hall in Lancashire. And they did this egg curry. And it was just
curry.
2 woked eggs in this hot Chinese curry sauce and the most beautiful fried rice, steeped in butter and soy sauce and garlic. It sounds rancid, just 2 fried eggs in a puddle of curry. It was the most delicious meal I've ever had in my life. And I bought this every week for years until it shut down. And the story I always like to think is I was keeping the economy afloat, because that £4.20 they used to pay for that curry every Monday night might have been the £4.20 that kept that Chinese open. If I'd not gone, that Chinese might have closed. If it had closed, it might have put the entire family out of work. They might have seen that as a slight on the Chinese community in Preston. The Chinese community could have shut down. That could have impacted on the tax collections for Preston Town Council. Preston Town Council would have devolved to Lancashire County Council. That spiral of effect could have brought down the entire economy. So I was saving the country with my £4.20 a week.
I never knew you were this altruistic, you know. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The idea of a couple of fried eggs in a curry sauce, because I don't really like eggs, doesn't appeal too much. But what shocks me more is getting a curry for £4.20. You try getting that now.
Those were the days. It used to be £3.80 when what was it? When I remember having one when Fires of Pompeii came out. No, not Fires of Pompeii. Fires of Vulcan came out.
Yeah.
And that was the last one I bought for £3.80.
£3.80. Unthinkable.
Couldn't get that now.
Well, look, we've got a vat of that curry.
That of egg curry.
Full of eggs. Yeah. Oh, man, I've had some interesting food choices.
I was listening to your mum's fish pie being...
Oh, God, it was lovely. Although it sounds ghastly, doesn't it?
I want to make it. Not mashed potato, but crumbled crisps, and was it Worcester sauce?
Cheese was the sauce, mushroom soup, and fish. It sounds dreadful. But look, if you're willing to try that ghastly fish pie, I'll try your ghastly egg curry. All right?
Time's gone by. We need a TARDIS.
No, we need a lot of toilet paper is what we need. Um, okay, so we've got two more categories here, and you could take anyone, alive or dead, famous or not, with you. Now, I'm already coming, so please spare my blushes.
I bet you are.
Who would you like to take with you? Who's going to accompany us? We could get them to read out Sherlock Holmes, you know?
This is the hardest question you've asked because I know that I'm not allowed to take my partner. And
That's right.
I've wrestled with this thinking, well, who would I take that not so much I would eventually have enough of them, it's that they would have enough of me. Because I'm a fucking nightmare. I love my own company. You give me a podcasting setup and I will just record audio and edit, and all I want to do is create audio. Just
I
leave
know,
me
but if
alone.
you could bring some of those episodes out, I'll be very grateful. All
Well,
right?
that's the thing. So who would I take? If I took somebody I really like, so say Paul Alsrush, my oldest mate, I love the man to bits, but I'd deprive his family of a lovely husband and father. If I took Simon Exton, I know that wherever we were, he's a chemist. So he could distill gin from whatever was around. He could probably distill it from old cables. So we'd be lucky with that. I actually toyed, though, with the idea of taking K9
Go on.
because I could have so much fun with K9. I could have conversations with this thing, this witty little computer. We could play chess together. But as a person, I've really, really struggled with it, and I can't think of anybody. I think it would have to be Dr. Exton.
I don't think you'd ever run out of things to talk about.
We
on here,
wouldn't. And we come at things from such different angles. We differ on so many things, which people might think is a bizarre angle to come from as two people that get on terribly well. But it's all done in an agreeable disagreement. And there are intellectual arguments on both sides. And the stuff that we both love, we both really love. I'd never run out of things to say with Simon. And his husband would probably be grateful of the chance to just sit and watch all the stuff that he doesn't get to watch.
It's one of the wonderful things about your podcast is you're both really intelligent blokes, but you do come at things from completely different angles, and I'm not being rude there. But that's really interesting, you know, and there's a mutual affection despite the fact that you disagree like hammer and bloody tongs on most episodes. It's really wonderful. It just shows you how to do it.
I hope so. He's the most wonderful man. He's terribly generous, and we have entire weekends together. Now, I get tired of people's company fairly quickly.
Me
I'm
too,
really
Ken.
intolerant. There's people I love to bits.
We seem like the most sociable people ever, but really, I just want everyone to fuck off. Do you know?
But Simon, I'm always sad to say goodbye to him. You know, we can spend 2 or 3 days together. I'm always sad to wave him goodbye because we've had such a lovely time.
I suppose that is the highest endorsement, right? A weekend together, and you don't want him to go.
No. So, and there's very, very few people on the planet that I feel that way about.
Well, open up that cupboard over there. He's bundled up in there. Quick.
Some
Unfortunately,
oxygen for the man.
poor Dr. Simon Exton's stuck on the planet Excelis for the rest of his life, but never mind. He's going to listen to some wonderful music, which is our last topic today. And if it is a singer or if it is a band, can you please pinpoint a single song? Because the song is how we'll out the episode.
It's a very Who-centric thing. Again, I wrestled between two choices. Because musically, I'm quite eclectic. I don't have a band as such. If I did, it would be something like ABBA or the Carpenters or something very easy listening from the 70s. But it's very specific. So that would remind me of my days at college and university and very little else. I did toy with War of the Worlds, the album, which is magic. Oh, have you heard that?
I haven't, no.
You've never heard War of the Worlds? Oh, man, as an audiophile, you and Mark should do that.
Do you see how much Doctor Who content I put out? That's all I watch, read, listen to. Like, no. I have explored a lot of other stuff, but yeah, there are some weird omissions.
That one is one that everybody should have heard. That tells a story. I mean, it's a novel adapted to a sort of a rock album. It's just glorious. It's glorious.
Is that the one that
Find
goes?
time to do that.
Du, du, du,
That's the one.
du, du,
Either
du,
the
du,
one.
du. Yeah, it's great, that song.
Put that in your magic box. That's one that you
Along
should
with
do.
everything else. Okay.
Along with everything else. That's definitely something you should do. But the one thing I'm going to take, because I can picture any point in my entire life through various segments of this thing, it's something on YouTube called Doctor Who Evolution by Gwylock Archive. And it is all the Doctor Who themes from 1963 to present segued into one another. So you're traveling all the way from 1963 over 10 minutes to sort of 2022. And it's
I had
just,
no idea that existed.
the Doctor Who theme is woven through my life. And as each different segment of the theme is played, I'm transported to where I was at that time. And all these memories are raked up. And then, you move on again, you're 2005, 2010, 2015, 2018. You know exactly where you were. And it weaves all of them, even the bits of the Delaware theme are in there, bits of the Dimensions in Time theme, the Schalke theme, the Lucy Miller theme. They're all sort of
Really?
buried in this marvelous thing.
And what, they all segue into each other. I just can't imagine there'd be a point where you could, I don't know,
It is
segue the
absolutely-
Delaware theme into the Tom Baker theme.
This is the most flawless segue of the theme I've ever heard. There have been attempts before and since. They've never got it to this level. So I'll
What's
send that to you as soon as we
your-
stop record.
Personal favourite Doctor Who theme?
For a long time, it was the Davison theme because that's the one I grew up with. And the Starfield times perfectly with the music, which I always liked. It's a tough one. I love the second Aganola theme. That was the best Doctor Who theme for years. But I think consistently arresting, the one that always gives me the tingle, is the Eccleston Tennant theme.
Oh, the that one. Yeah. It's sort of the show bursting back into life again.
Well, you get the pre-credit sequence for Tennant and Eccleston, and you get all this, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then the Doctor Who's scream comes up to meet you, and you get thrown into the title sequence. And if you don't get the tingle from that, the one that I did for you was the Doctor Trap. And that was the first one I experimented with putting the theme music on at the beginning.
Yeah,
and I
that's
gave
right.
myself the tingle with the edit. I just think it works. It's just that initial Doctor Who scream that Barry Letts insisted that, they find some way of making the intro into the end credits a little less sludgy.
It was a genius move, isn't it?
Oh.
Having the music start playing whilst the action's still going on that leads you into. And actually, I love the second Akinola theme as well. But it just starts off with that sort of. And so they didn't do pre-title sequence too often because, well, how can you lead from an exciting moment into that? Or the Peter Capaldi one, which just started off with dum, dum, dum. You need that sort of meow, don't you, to go in?
I love Peter Capaldi so much as the Doctor. He is my favourite New Who Doctor, but his theme, oh my God. It's not the best. It's so whiny, crappy theme.
And the titles and so much of that era. Bless him. I'm not sure he was served the best, poor Peter Capaldi.
But then you get to Series 10. Peter Capaldi is peppered with highs and lows. I've rewatched the whole of New Who up to. We did falter when we got to Jodie Whittaker, I'm sorry to say, but I showed my partner the whole of Who before the David Tennant specials, and she loved it. But I got a newfound appreciation for Peter Capaldi. You watch even the weak episodes, so stuff like Robot of Sherwood, and I'm afraid there's nothing going to save in the Forest of the Night Garden, whatever it's fucking called. That is still dire. But Capaldi himself, you watch the performance of him, and you're compelled to watch his performance. So even the duff episodes of Doctor Who, for me, the Doctor's just got better and better and better. So started off brilliant, Eccleston, Tennant even better. Matt Smith, I know you're not fond of, but I thought he was great.
Oh.
And then you get Capaldi, who...
I genuinely think Capaldi is probably the best actor to have ever played the Doctor. He's certainly the most capable actor to have played the Doctor. I just don't know they always wrote to his strengths, but that's entirely subjective because I know plenty of people that think they did.
But you've got, I know it's not fashionable to say it anymore, but stuff like The Caretaker. I know that the writer is an interesting man, but I can divorce writers from their work and just view the work as what it is. I think The Caretaker is beautiful. Then you've got other things like Mummy on the Orient Express. These are just great pieces of TV, great pieces of Doctor Who. Series 10.
One of those I could agree with you with. The other one, well, we're back in War of the Daleks territory again. I'm not going to say which one, though.
I'm going to guess The Caretaker.
I really hate that episode. I mean, there's a lot in that season I love, though. And it's not a popular opinion either.
Well, I think Mr. Roberts has taken a bit of a knock. So people have appraised his work based on their personal feelings of
it's not Gareth Roberts, though. I love Unicorn and the Wasp. I'm quite fond of Shakespeare Code. I just don't really like that script. But that's horses for courses.
And that's the beauty of Doctor Who.
So the Doctor Who theme tune.
Yeah. There's a lovely little bubble of the Delaware theme as you segue from Pertwee titles, Baker titles, into Peter Davison's opening titles. Oh, yeah.
What a wonderful choice. And we're just touching down on Excellis now. Anthony Stewart Head is there to greet us as Lord Greyhorn.
My boy. Oh, Iris is here as well with a bottle of Bombay Sapphire.
And look, is that Yi So I see over there in the forest? Oh my God. All the guest stars from the Excellis series are turning up to greet us.
With his meat puppets and handbag.
Dr. Simon Exton, how kind of you to mix a gin and tonic for everybody on Excellis. How kind.
And we even have a TARDIS bus. What could possibly go wrong?
There's a fucking series in the making here. You and me will be the two of the biggest characters in it. Ken, what a delight it is to talk to you. What a wonderful thing to get to know you better today as well. Thank you so much for coming on the shuttle and sharing all your experiences as well. I know we did this at the start, but I'm going to do this at the end as well. Please tell people where they can find you online.
You can find me with Dr. Simon Exton on the Exton Moss Experiment, where we discuss archive TV, the Archive of Audio Antiquities, where we do archive radio, the Tonic Screwdriver, where we do gin, and Kinky Boots, where we're doing a watch-along episode by episode of The Avengers. I'm also on 9 Bob Note with Paul Owls Rush, where we do LGBT issues and conversations coming from a gay and a non-gay angle.
Do you know, you told me about that last time, and I still haven't. I must listen to that. That intrigues me deeply. I will say to people, obviously, the Exton Moss Doctor Who content is fabulous. But boy, oh boy, if you want a quick walk into some bloody niche territory, then click play on the things you've not seen before, because you'll get the most entertaining and engaging reading on them. Yes, I am talking of the Corridor People.
I knew that was in there. Simon will be delighted.
Ken, thank you very much for your time. It is
my pleasure, mate. My pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Well, that was an awful lot of fun and a pleasure to be asked to do. You can hear Joe on a million other podcasts, notably Hamster with a Blunt Penknife, which publishes daily reviews of Doctor Who TV adventures and novels, plus Finish Big with Mark Rawlins, which is an ongoing look at every single release from Big Finish Productions. Good luck getting to the end of that. Coming up, it's Simon's turn to choose his Desert Planet picks, and you can hear those in the next episode. Until then, thank you as always for listening. We'll be back soon. Ta-ta. The Exton Moss Experiment featured Simon Exton and Ken Moss. All featured soundtracks are the property of their respective producers, and no infringement of copyright is intended. Title music was performed by the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and the programme was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.